Now let's talk about arginine and diabetes. We know that diabetes is an epidemic. 8% of Americans, or 24 million, are diabetic. Another 57 million are pre-diabetic. We know that obesity in America is out of control. It continues to go up every year. Over 30% of Americans are considered obese. That's only 35 pounds overweight. We also know that in 1900, the average American consumed 5 pounds of sugar. Today, we each consume 150 pounds of sugar. We are addicted to sugar. What are the end-stage results for diabetes? A heart attack, a stroke, blindness, kidney failure, and amputation, which is not a pretty sight. In fact, if you're over 50 years old, 80% of diabetics over 50 will develop something called peripheral arterial disease, which is a lack of blood flow to the extremities, including your legs and feet. That leads to something called critical ischemia, where eventually the blood flow is cut off. Eventually, that leads to amputation, because you might develop a small cut, but because there's no blood flow, there's no oxygen, there's no healing, it becomes infected, it gets worse, gangrene sets in, and now they have to amputate. Over 200,000 amputations every year for diabetic patients. This is Dr. Joseph Prendergast, and Dr. Prendergast actually is an endocrinologist who treats diabetes. And what he discovered is 10 years ago he started using arginine in his practice. He actually ran into John Cook, who wrote The Cardiovascular Cure, at a cocktail party. They became best friends. He started using arginine, and he got such great results he started putting his diabetic patients on it. What he discovered was this. In 10 years' time, now before the 10 years, he used to send 240 patients a year, on average, to see 3 cardiologists in his area. However, what he discovered is he was no longer sending 240 patients a year. He went back over his records in 10 years, and he saw that he was averaging less than 2 patients a year. And guess what? All 3 of the cardiologists had to move out of the area because he simply wasn't providing them with the business they were accustomed to.